Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel. Guys, All-Star break is gone. We had the Home Run Derby, All-Star game. Not my favorite All-Star break we've had. I'd probably say it's the worst one I can remember ever seeing. No positives I can possibly take away from this. Do you guys have
Home
any?
Run Derby. Got to go back to the old format. I didn't
Yeah.
even watch. All I did was watch highlights on social media. I did like the swing off. I'm not going to lie. For like an all-star format, I thought it was fun. But I think that there needs to be like a fan vote or something because somehow Aaron Boone's managerial tactics cost the AL an all-star game.
I mean, Judge and Ohtani, how are you gone from the stadium?
The
Dressed
swing
in the
off,
locker room and gone.
the swing off is insane that those guys didn't participate as it's 3 swings. I get the Derby. I really do, especially for somebody like Judge who's already competed in it and won, and guys dealing with any shoulder soreness or injury. I get it. A 3-pitch swing off you can't be bothered to participate in is insane. The MLB needs to make that a fan vote or something. You could run a poll on Twitter pretty quickly nowadays and get the votes in that you need for it. There's no reason in a situation like that. And even the NL, like they had Alonso and Schwarber. Like Ohtani wasn't in there, but they put up some good names. The AL, Aaron Boone had to have picked, aside from Brent Rooker, like the worst possible candidates.
It's so stupid. And it was just all around a terrible weekend or a terrible week, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, even to the point where Schwarber shouldn't have been eligible based on their actual rules for MVP. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, you sent that in the text where it was the MVP was going to be picked based off their performance in the All-Star game, not like the swing off, and then they changed it after so they can.
I think the change is correct personally. Like, I think if it's a tie game, you go into the swing off and you do what Schwarber did, you should win the MVP. But I would understand why somebody like Corey or anybody betting on the game maybe would not factor that into their choices then.
I think at that point you don't have an MVP.
I mean,
or
people bet on it, so you have to have a
void
winner.
all the bets.
I mean, it's lame.
It is lame, but like, also, I don't understand why everybody was just assuming that it would have been Alonso who had a 3-run home run would get the MVP, and not was it Ketel Marte had that knocked in the first runs of the game with a double?
He did, I believe so.
So why wouldn't it be him who went against Skubal and knocked in a run to give the NL the lead in the first place? Why is a 3-run home run when you're already up like 2? Why is that guaranteeing you the MVP?
I mean, Schwarber hit 3 home runs. I think that all but guarantees it for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. But I mean, then you have the home run derby, and like John and I touched on it last week.
It was lame.
You don't get to watch the home runs. The next pitch is thrown before the ball lands. It's a home run derby.
Gotta go back. I mean, if you want to shorten it from 10 outs, shorten it from 10 outs. If you're trying to speed it up, give them 6 outs or something. But we have to go back to that method. The swing off had more juice in that amount of time than the home run derby did at all, because high stakes, limited outs, and we, like you mentioned, the moment the home run was hit, everyone watched, everyone celebrated, everyone took a moment. And it wasn't that long. It wasn't a big deal.
We saw
O'Neal swing was so much more impactful.
We saw O'Neal Cruz hit a ball 513 feet. But we didn't have a chance to watch it, admire it, see it, because you had another 2 pitches thrown before that ball even landed.
Even the social media clip of it on MLB was 12 seconds. And you don't get to be excited if you're the player. It's so dumb. So dumb.
It is, and honestly, I don't believe it should even be considered a home run derby. It's an endurance challenge.
Yeah, that's why consistently now, I don't know if Cal Raleigh falls into this. I know Teoscar Hernandez didn't, but before those two, everybody who had won it was under 26 in the new format. So it quite literally became a young man's endurance game.
It's just ridiculous, and that's really what messes with guys' swings more because they're focused on just swinging at as many pitches, trying to just lift them in the air and go over and over and over instead of taking your perfect swing on your perfect pitch.
Yeah,
Like you didn't hear about the home run derby messing with guys' swings too much up until this new format.
yeah, and I mean that's another thing. Like, obviously, Jazz Chisholm wasn't practicing for any amount of time for it, but the other 7 guys, you're practicing and getting into that style, and you come out of the All-Star break, and then you're readjusting.
Which is why I had no issue with Jazz's performance. I did not care. It was funny.
I mean, like, this is a product of what the MLB has created for the
Yes.
home run derby. So when you see somebody like Jazz perform that way, understand it's because guys don't want to participate because of what the MLB has done to the event.
They got what they deserved. But now moving on, the next big event in Major League Baseball's, seasonal timeline is the trade deadline. Thursday, July 31st, 6 p.m. That's when we have that final no waiver deadline like we've had in the last few years. It's just been the final deadline. So I got a couple names here. I'm going to name them. You guys tell me one team you think is a good fit and if they will cost a team's top 5 prospect. Not as a full deal, but like, will a top 5 prospect be involved in the deal for this person? And we're going to start off with a rental from Arizona at third base, a Eugenio Suarez.
I mean, we've been going back and forth in this, but I'm going to say the Yankees. I think that this would be a move to give them the no doubt best lineup in the AL and potentially the best lineup in all of baseball once you get playoff Stanton going at his highest level. 1 through 7 could take you deep at any moment, and this will be a powerful lineup. And, as we're seeing tonight, Oswald Peraza, not the answer at third base. It is the most dire position of need for the Yankees. The fit is like a glove, and I do think it will cost a top 5 prospect to get it done.
John, what do you think?
It's hard to argue with what Dylan said, but I'm going to go with, I think he fits with the Cubs too. So, I mean, the Cubs, I think they have like John Birdie at third base. They can definitely use Geno Suarez, add more power to that lineup. And I mean, if the Cubs are looking to make a push to be like a World Series contender and probably, go deep in the playoffs, I mean, you definitely need more power bats. And I, like Dylan said, I do think you're going to have to move a top 5 prospect to get him.
Next name we have on the list, we got Mitch Keller. He's got 3 years, $54.5 million left on his current deal, so about 3.5 years left total. Right-hander out of Pittsburgh. Where do we think? And is he going to cost a top 5 prospect?
So, similar to Suarez, that's another name that's been floating around Yankee land. I don't see him landing in Yankee land. I go back and forth. I think the San Francisco Giants are a decent spot for him. I don't think I trust their rotation as it is to be 3, let alone 4 deep in a playoff run, and I don't think he would cost a top 5 prospect.
See, I was thinking maybe Yankees, because like you got Yankees, I feel like need another pitcher in their rotation. But I do like the Giants. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's actually a really good fit because they do need more pitching, especially with the Devers trade, and they offloaded some pitching there, so that would be really good. I also think maybe Boston, or even like the Cubs again, because I think you're looking at teams that are looking to be in the playoff mix-up and maybe take a shot at going deep there. So looking at any teams there to
the only problem with the Cubs is in division, I feel like there's enough options to get them out of the division.
Yeah, But I think Boston, Giants, Yankees
Like
would
I think for the
be,
Cubs, it would
yeah,
cost a top 5
probably
prospect.
for the Cubs. But I mean, like all the other teams we mentioned, probably not at all.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be like an in division tax. And now we'll go on to another starter because starting pitching's a premium, right? Now, this guy's a rental from Arizona, Merrill Kelly. He's a righty. On the older side, he'll be 37 in the playoffs. So, good pitcher, but age is a factor.
So Merrill Kelly is the guy that I see the Yankees going after. I think you get both in a deal, Suarez and Kelly. That's kind of the deal that I'm eyeing, that I expect the Yankees to make one of their maybe 2, 3 deals that I could see them going after. Again, we've talked about this at length on the pod, but I think that Merrill Kelly is a fine number 4 for a playoff run where New York doesn't have 4 arms right now that I trust in a playoffs. And, I like Freed, I like Rodon, I like Luis Heel. That's it. And you need 4 arms. And whether, we're talking Stroman, Will Warren, I would rather a veteran in Merrill Kelly out there that at least has been consistently decent over the last few years. He's been better than Marcus Stroman, that's for sure. And I don't think he himself would cost a top 5 prospect, but like I mentioned, I think it's a package deal for the one that I'm talking about with the Yankees. So I guess in a way he would, you know, require a top 5 prospect.
I'm gonna go with Merrill Kelly. I think maybe going to like Houston or maybe Toronto.
All right.
I just feel like because you're just like other feeling. I feel like Toronto's always looking to make a move. Like they're always looking to sign players. They're always looking to make moves. I mean, they're surging right now. I mean, do they make do they make a trade to go get more pitching? So, and I didn't considering like Merrill Kelly's agent stuff. I don't think top 5 prospect at all to get him.
And now, how about Ramon Laureano, who's a rental from Baltimore, outfielder? Uh, former A, bounced around a little bit. Believe he had a PED suspension, but somebody who's known for great defense and has a positive WAR right now.
When you say outfielder, you have to think about the Philadelphia Phillies at this point. They're certainly in need of some outfield depth, I would say. I also think you got to think about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Michael Conforto has been really, really bad. Obviously, you could move Edman out there and they could have an infielder. Mookie Betts, the same deal. So there's a lot of flexibility with them. But to be able to get Michael Conforto out of the lineup would be a big plus for the Dodgers. So I'm going to land on them with this move.
As much as I don't like I don't like I always see people saying Phillies need outfielders, need outfielders, need outfielders. I mean, this would be a good fit for Philly to go after because I feel like you don't have to give up too much. You get good defense and stuff, and I mean, you have Kepler doing not great at all. So like, this is if you're gonna go after an outfielder, this is a guy I guess you'd go after.
Brings defense too.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
then
they need defense more
they
than
need
offense.
defense.
I don't know why. It just feels like he's a guy that's been a Philly. Like, I feel like a guy like him always ends up in Philadelphia. Just somebody who plays great defense in center field, not that great of a hitter, but just, you know, fills in when they need him in the outfield, especially in October, and always has like a big hit or two.
Yeah, especially since the Phillies like don't seem to be pulling the trigger on bringing Crawford up yet. So I mean, if they're not going to do that or don't have any intent to do that anytime soon, they gotta get the defense sorted out in the outfield there.
Next guy up is from the White Sox, rental righty Adrian Hauser.
A lot of teams obviously need pitching. For some reason, it feels a little Mets-esque to me, even though they don't. Just another arm in their random mix there.
Well, he was a Met, I believe, and they DFA'd him last year in like June.
I mean, it won't cost a lot to bring him back. That's for sure. maybe that's an arm that the Texas Rangers go after, just as a team that could use pieces. I'm not really feeling a strong lean, so I'll go Rangers there.
Who's this?
This is Adrian Hauser.
I've never even heard of this guy.
Oh, it's a scrub. That's why. He's a nobody, John. He's a nobody.
Adrian Hauser.
So that means he's going to be a Philly.
Honestly, I can see it.
John's
they love to trade for pitchers who are like nothing, give up like nothing for them.
John's never heard of him, so now he's going to serve up a big home run in October, and he'll never forget his name again.
I mean, to me, Hauser feels like more of a long relief bullpen arm for a contending team.
And honestly, and the Phillies need that. They need bullpen arms. Any guy that comes up just automatically Phillies.
Speaking of a bullpen arm, this is one that the Phillies are not allowed to trade for. I forbid it. Stay away. Yohan Duran of the Twins. He's got 2.5 years left on his deal. Phillies, you can't have him. He's a Yankee.
I mean, the Yankees are obviously a team that I think should be in on Duran. Me and Corey behind, the curtain here have had many conversations at this point. He's not going to like my answer. The Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers lose Devin Williams to the Yankees. Didn't get an exact closer back. Go with McGill, who's been solid for them, but I think they'd much prefer him in a setup role. And if you could bring in a closer like Duran, Trevor McGill to Duran as an 8-9 combo for the 8th and 9th inning could be a good way to close out some postseason games.
John, don't say Phillies. Don't do it.
No, I mean, you sure I can't say Phillies? I just really think the Phillies really, really, really need a closer really, really bad. And I'd be willing to give up quite a bit to get a shutdown closer.
Sounds like John's willing to give up a top 5 prospect in this.
I'm willing to give up a top 5 prospect.
Are you willing to give up Abel or Crawford?
Abel, 100. I think they should trade. Crawford? I think if the Phillies are going to do anything, they should give Abel up. I don't think they should give Crawford up, but they should. I think Abel's going to go.
I don't think they should give Crawford up, but I think they should definitely get a closer.
They should definitely give closer. I mean, I feel like you can package guys together because I feel like the Phillies. I feel like this.
You don't have to give up Crawford to get a closing pitcher.
No, but I feel like you can give Abel up. I personally think they should think about trading Stott because if they're going to platoon him all the time, what's the point? Like, just you can bring up another guy and just platoon him anyway. And then Stott can start on another team, and I feel like they should look at doing that. I mean, I would have said Bowen would have been a trade piece, but he's hurt now with fractured ribs, 10-day IL. But I'm just saying, like you have guys you can move around there. I mean, I think Marsh is
how smart of Alec Bohm.
Yeah,
get hurt right before the trade deadline. That way he can't be traded.
But I think there's a lot of guys that I'd be willing to move to get a closer, especially with how they are managing the team right now with platooning players and stuff.
All right, next one is the starter from the Marlins. He's got 3 years left, so very controllable. Edward Cabrera.
Ooh, see, not the starter from the Marlins I thought you were going to bring up.
Yeah, I thought
we were headed to a Sandy Alcantara. Edward Cabrera, though, oh, man, I hate it.
They're going to trade him
but
to the
I love
Yankees
it.
for a bag of chips.
No, I hate it.
Red Sox, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I hate it, but I love it. I hate it for us. It feels like the move for them. Boston gets another stronger, younger arm.
Would it take a Marcelo Meyer or a Christian Campbell? He's a very controllable starter with a void at, young, controllable starting pitching on the market.
Maybe Marcelo Meyer. You have Bregman locked up, and he plays third. Obviously, he could play short as well, but obviously not a Roman Anthony. Not a chance that I'm moving him if I am the Red Sox. I'm moving Jaron Duran to play Roman Anthony. I don't know if we're going to get to Duran, but that's what I'm doing in that situation. Yeah, Marcelo Meyer. They have a lot of infield guys. Toro, Rafaela, Bregman, Story. Like they're doing solid right now. So you know, as hot as they've been playing, it looks like they're going to make the playoffs, and they lack in starting pitching. Obviously, you have Garrett Crochet, who could be the Cy Young winner. Brian, Bayo's been solid. You have Bueller and Giolito, but Cabrera with the control, I think, improves the rotation this year and going forward into the future.
What do you think, John?
I'm
Where it is?
convinced they're going to trade him away to like the Yankees for literally nothing, because that's what the Marlins do. They always do.
Whoa, for nothing.
They always do.
Whoa.
They just
For
trade away their
nothing?
players for nothing.
Who's
We
the
took
Marlins'
on
best
a
catcher?
massive contract that we're still paying in Stanton, and we couldn't even get Yelich or Ozuna in that deal.
Who's the best catcher on the Marlins right now?
The Marlins they can't, like, the Marlins had, like, they just, every good player they get, they just give away and give away and give away, and they just it feels like they get nothing in return that actually helps them build their team.
Who's the Phillies catcher right now?
JT.
I wonder where he was before the Phillies.
He's at the Marlins, and then they traded him away. For was it? I feel like, what was it? I think was that the.
So between Realmuto and Jesus Luzardo, I feel like the Phillies have benefited from the Marlins and their giving away guys for free.
Ineptness? Yeah. Absolutely.
So maybe it's another pipeline.
I'm just saying the Marlins are just a bad organization. That's all I'm saying.
Now, how about 1.5 years left, reliever from the Pirates, David Bednar?
Ooh, Pennsylvania to Pennsylvania. Bednar to the Phillies.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking the Phillies might.
You've been thinking that about every reliever.
No. Hear this. I think the Phillies go. They get a two for there. They go after Dennis Santana too, and Bednar. Give up
and Duran.
And get
wow.
two. No. I mean, no. If they can't get Duran, I mean, I would like.
No. You're not allowed to get Duran. He's a Yankee. Get over it.
Well, see, they can't get him because he's a Yankee already. That's what we see. So, like, I think they do a package deal here. Go after Bednar and Dennis Santana there, and get two relief pitchers. And I
are you
probably going to have to give up some guys
for both of them? Then
they probably are going to have to give up a top 5 prospect to get both of them. But I mean,
remember how much Tanner Scott went for last year?
Yeah, wasn't he? He was like what?
Or
a 5 prospect trade?
Didn't the Phillies trade for a reliever last year and give up a lot?
They traded for Banks, and I think gave up, like really like low A pitching prospects, and then they traded for Estevez and gave some guys up. Then they also traded for Chance Moses, another starting pitchers. They gave up starting pitchers from the Orioles. And he was actually doing really good, but now he has to get Tommy John surgery.
Now let's go to the next one. We got right fielder with 1.5 years left from Texas, Adolis Garcia. The Rangers may find themselves as sellers.
Yeah, I don't think he gets moved. Not a name I was prepared for. When I think about teams that could use bats, though, San Francisco comes to mind again, potentially. Milwaukee, I don't hate that.
Seattle.
In division, so tough. You know who's interesting? The Mets. Jesse Winker's on the IL right now. So is Starling Marte. Do they want to add some additional pop to the lineup?
It's just that Soto and Garcia both can't play anywhere other than right field.
Well, you DH one of them.
I guess you could, but the Mets seem to have liked leaving it open, and then Vientos has been somebody who they want to DH while they have Beatty play third.
I mean, I heard they're trying to trade Vientos for some high-level players.
Yeah. Somebody's smoking something. There was a story in the New York Post, I believe it was, or just a story in general from Jim Bowden, and he said that the Mets would like to get Jason Dominguez from the Yankees for Mark Vientos, or at the very least, trade Brett Beatty to the Yankees for either Trent Grisham or Cody Bellinger. If they had to settle for something.
Yeah, so I think they settle on Adolis Garcia.
This must be what Met fans felt like when it was the Yankees saying, "Oh, we'll trade you guys like last year of his career, Brett Gardner for Brandon Nimmo." Just really embarrassing stuff.
Oh, New York.
John, do you think Adolis gets traded?
Maybe, but probably not. But if he does get moved, and I know I just said we just talk about a lot of stuff, but I mean, I see constantly. I mean, we talk about you have Kepler doing bad for the Phillies and stuff, and Garcia would address a lot of their outfield
John
loss.
is just like the Phillies, man.
I
Instead
am-
of getting a good defensive outfielder, let's
This
get
is what
another
they're gonna-
bat that can
That's
barely
what I
play
mean.
defense.
This is what they do, though. This is what they do. This is what the fans.
This is what
all I
you
see the
did.
fans want.
You just did it. You fell
I know.
for it.
I have a
can
list
get
of like
another
10 or
ballot
11 names. Every single one of them is a Philly.
Everyone's a Philly. Yeah, everyone's a Philly. Just no, but I mean, really, maybe I would think realistically, maybe San Diego or San Francisco
There you
if
go.
he does get moved.
Now he's not a Philly all of a sudden.
No.
Now, how about
Just saying.
John's
possible.
favorite reliever, Felix Bautista from the Orioles, with now 2.5 years left on his contract?
Oh, I wonder
Philly?
what John's gonna say.
If they're a relief pitcher, they're a Philly.
I don't know how. So don't ask me where he fits or why it would happen. Dodgers.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Don't ask for reasoning, but
And do they give
somehow,
up a top
some
five
way,
pick for a top five prospect for him?
somehow they don't.
Honestly, that completely tracks. That makes out of all the stuff we said all night, that makes the most sense.
I know I can see Bautista going to a team like the Cubs.
Hey, I'd prefer anywhere than what I just said. So
John, anywhere else besides the Phillies, or is he just a Philly?
What about Detroit? I feel like Detroit's up there. I don't know how good their bullpen is, but I feel
There's
like
no such thing as a good enough bullpen.
yeah, but I feel like you can always use more bullpen arms.
Right.
yeah, I mean they got Will Vest, Canley, Holton. That's their main three there. So they could definitely have another arm.
And it's just the fact that he's he's controllable still for like 3 more years. So that's
Yep.
probably a really,
And he's had a
really
really
appealing
high
for them.
peak as well. Like
Yeah,
not
I
at
think he
this
just
exact
came
moment.
back from Tommy John.
he just came back from injury, so he's probably not going to be like 100% off the bat. But I mean, this is kind of like a more of a like this year trade, but also for next year too.
Yeah.
So
Now, last name I have here is Jarren Duran, outfielder from Boston. 3.5 years left. They love him. They hate him in Boston. He's not the greatest outfielder. Definitely doesn't really know the position as well as you would think for somebody who's been playing it as long as he does. But, last year he showed a lot of flashes of what he could be. Took a step back this year, but that talent is in there. Where does he go, and does he cost a top 5 prospect?
After everything I made fun of John for, Philly. This is the outfielder that I think that they do go after and they do get. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if at the end of this weekend Boston just leaves him in Philadelphia, to be completely honest with you. Again, I think that they need to clear a spot for Roman Anthony. That's Jarren Duran's spot. Philadelphia needs an outfielder. He's got a good bat. Is he a perfect outfielder? No. Is he a Philadelphia Phillies outfielder? You bet. And
he just feels like Alec Boehm, but in the outfield.
I think he might cost a fringe top 5 prospect. The thing is, Boston wants to get off of him. So I think you could pay less, but additional pieces, or you could hover right around your 5th best prospect.
John, is he at Philly?
I mean, I've seen a lot of Phillies fans talking about getting him and wanting him. So I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean,
What a
it's
deadline
possible.
for the Phillies.
I mean, I know I've even said like they go after. I know I've said like the Phillies are in talks for a lot of other outfielders and stuff, but like I think they should focus more on relief pitching first, and then once they get that locked up, if there's anyone left in the outfield, they address that. But I think the bullpen's more of a like urgent need than sorting the outfield out. But I mean, with that being said, possibly. I mean, I think maybe you look at the Padres taking him, or hear me out, maybe the Braves. Now, even though the Braves are kind of behind here, I mean, I think possibly they can still make a wild card. And if not, it's definitely a good trade going into next season.
All right, we'll see. We're going to pick this back up next week, or we'll be just a few days away from the deadline. We'll have a little bit more clarity on who's buyers, who's sellers, and who's available. Let's go with our studs and duds now, because somebody who might be available is Taylor Ward of the Angels. In 3 games since the All-Star break, he's gotten 12 at-bats with 5 hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, so all extra base hits, 8 RBIs. He's hitting .417 with a 1.267 OPS. If somebody really wants to raise their trade profile, this is the way to do it. On the other end, you have Mets shortstop as my dud, Francisco Lindor. 3 games, 14 at-bats. You know how many hits he has? Big old goose egg. The amount of captain patches on his jersey, 0. No RBIs, no hits, 4 strikeouts, and a big David Wright honorary ceremony that did not end in Francisco Lindor getting the C. I wonder who could have predicted that. I wonder who could have felt that. Imagine you have the greatest third baseman in franchise history, and you want to make his retirement about giving it and passing down that captaincy to another player, and the wrong player at that. I will die on the hill that Pete Alonso is the heart and soul of the Mets. Met fans hate Pete Alonso for some reason. I don't understand why. He is awesome. Alonso's the Mets captain, not Lindor, and he doesn't even have a hit to show for it.
Yeah, Frank the Tank says that Francisco Lindor has given up on the team. My stud, Philadelphia Philly, Kyle Schwarber. Obviously, the man was a monster in the All-Star swing-off, and he kept that rolling. He's 4 for 11 since, in the last week. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and, of course, the swing-off victory. My dud, a name that I maybe never thought that I'd say as my dud, Mookie Betts. Coming out the All-Star break, 1 for 9 with 3 strikeouts, and this man now has a lower OPS on the season than Anthony Volpe.
That's a special type of player right there.
Listen, I'm not saying that I did it, but for the first time in my life, I drafted Mookie Betts in fantasy baseball. Do with that what you will.
So you're saying that
you took one for the team.
Maybe. It might
you
be
did
my
what
fault.
needed to be done.
It might be my fault.
My stud this week is, I guess, we talked about him already a little bit because he's going to be a very sought after piece at the trade deadline here. Eugenio Suarez, 5 for 10, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. Coming out of the All-Star
doesn't
break
want
here.
him on the Yankees for some reason.
This
guy's is ridiculous. This guy's like, no, I just want every closer in baseball.
Give me every reliever possible.
I want every reliever out the AL Central.
I want to be the team that, I want an opener every game, just a different pitcher.
And then my dud this week, Philly, Max Kepler, 0 for 8. Nothing really more to say.
What do you mean, former Philly?
It might be.
As you have already written him off the team.
He might
with your trade deadline plans, he's definitely gone.
With it, like I think with my trade deadline things, a lot of people are going to be off the team.
With John's trade deadline, let's see, we have I think we said Merrill Kelly, Laureano, Hauser,
I didn't say
Duran,
Merrill. No. I didn't say Merrill Kelly.
Cabrera, Bednar,
Just
Garcia,
everything.
Batista, Duran, Suarez.
Don't forget, he even threw in Dennis Santana, a name we
Oh,
didn't
Dennis
talk about.
Santana and Bednar.
Just for good measure.
That's a combined deal.
Yeah.
Just for good measure.
Yeah.
Speaking of those fills, they're 1-2 since the All-Star break. They lost that series to the Angels.
What do you think
56
they
and
should
40,
do, John?
Trade everyone.
56 and 43 overall. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They're only a half game up on the Mets. John, are we panicking? How are we feeling? Are they going to be fine?
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Like, I mean, they're going to be fine. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs.
Is
No,
that
I mean,
fine?
Yeah, with all these trade deadline
That's
acquisitions.
Is making the playoffs good enough? I would argue that is not good enough for the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, it's not. That's why they're going to trade for all the relief pitchers at the trade deadline.
Well, here's what I'll say. As currently constructed, they are not fine because they are going to be in close games, whether it's down the stretch against the Mets and against other good NL teams as they vie for position, and they're going to be in competitive close games if they make the playoffs. And right now, there's not a single arm at the bullpen that I trust in these big spots. Not only do the Philadelphia Phillies need a closer, but I would argue they need, 2 to 3 relievers total at this deadline. Just to have arms that you trust in that bullpen. I mean, when you think about it right now, who do you trust? Matt Strom? Is that the end of the list?
Kerkering and Strom are probably the only two.
Yeah, because you're not, even though Alvarado will be back, he's ineligible for the postseason. So does it matter? We'll talk about your moment of the week in a little bit, but they did
That's why I trust the most.
They brought in David Robertson, what was he, just pitching for guys in Rhode Island? Is that where it was?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they actually waited that long to even pick him up.
I'm surprised the league waited that long.
I'm surprised. Well, I mean, we talked about it, I feel like months ago, you and I, about the Phillies picking up Robertson, like way back.
Yeah, we've talked about all of our teams picking him up. And a bunch of other teams that need relievers.
But I mean, like, right now they're okay. I mean, looking ahead, like you said, to the playoffs and stuff, they if they don't make moves at the trade deadline to get more relief pitching, they're not going to go much further than they did last season. Like, they're just not. They need relief pitching. I just hope they don't get caught up in trying to address the outfield stuff first and then have nothing to give up for a relief pitcher. Like, I would like them to address the relief pitching, like the bullpen situation first, and then if they have guys to give up and move, try and get an outfield, like try to get someone in the outfield, but that's not, they don't nearly need that as much as they need like bullpen help.
All right, now the Mets, even though Ben's not here, they also went 1-2 in their first series, and that was versus Cincinnati. They're 56 and 44 overall, 4-6 in their last 10, half a game back of the Phillies. They're 1.5 games up for the second wild card out of the 3. Do you guys have any feelings on the Mets? They seem to have been in free fall. I believe over the last 30 games, they have the second worst record in baseball.
So they came back to earth. Yeah. And they turned into the team that I think we had all predicted, besides Ben, that they would be before the regular season. And I think if the Mets didn't have such high highs and such low lows this season and had been more consistently this team, there wouldn't be a panic mode. At the end of the day, the starting pitching was overexceeding, and now the rug has been pulled out on this team. And they need to acquire 1 to 2 starting pitchers that you could believe in if I'm supposed to believe that this team can go on a World Series run, if this team can compete with the Philadelphia Phillies in their division, if this team can compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers, the San Diego Padres, if I'm supposed to believe that to be the case. we'll see. The roster construction didn't make sense to me before the start of the season. I thought that they had proved me wrong, but it was just, a classic, right later, not right away.
Now, the Yankees, on the other hand, they're 2-1 since the break, winning record. They took 2 out of 3 from Atlanta in very difficult fashion. 55-46 overall, 6-4 in their last 10. 3 games back at Toronto, looking to be 4, and they are 2 up on wild card 1 in the American League. Now, I know they're 2-1 since the break. That first game out where they led off with an opener was embarrassing. And then going down 7-2 in the second game back, you clawed your way back and won, but those are some things you can't have happen.
Yeah, and then, the game that's happened tonight as we're recording, it's not over, but the errors by the team are just unacceptable. They're not playing good baseball. I know they're 2-1, and due to the amount of pop in their lineup, they were able to come back in that game versus Atlanta, but they should realistically be 1-2 on their way to 1-3. I thought for sure when they opened post All-Star break with an opener that a trade was coming. I thought, okay, let me not overreact. Maybe there's a move coming that's going to lead to this, and there hasn't been. And now I'm kind of like, okay, what were we doing? Similar to what I said about the Philadelphia Phillies. Are the Yankees fine if the goal is making the playoffs? I think so. I think the lineup's too good, and Fried and Rodon are good enough that this team, as currently constructed, would make the playoffs. Are they World Series contenders? In the AL, I think the lineup could get hot enough that they could get there, but I would not have faith in them to win it if they did get there. And there's at least a clear sense of direction similar to the Phillies. You need another starting pitcher. You need some bullpen arms. 2 would be ideal, 2 high level. And you need somebody that you could play at third base every day and believe won't be a net negative out there. We could go as high as Eugenio Suarez. We could go as low as a Brian Hayes. And I'm fine with whatever the option is there, but it has to be somebody that I don't think is going to be a problem in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know. Like we said before, I want to go all in on pitching. Although today's giving me a lot of pause.
I mean, they have to get a third baseman.
I mean, I feel like
I'm not saying you have to pay up and pay heavy, and maybe you go to one of those teams that you were talking about where they have more depth pieces, or what was it, Heyman, Ahmed Rosario, he brings them up every deadline for the Yankees, but maybe this is the one where it's like, hey, we went all in on the bullpen, but we knew that we needed a third baseman, so we just went out there and got a guy that can play third base every day, and that was the end of the list.
Right. Or even a Brian Hayes at that point.
I mean, and a Willie Castro, if you're going to make a deal with the Twins for some of their bullpen arms, he's kind of their version of an Oswaldo Cabrera. Like, fine. Like a guy that can go out there every single day. If you went out and made a deal with Cleveland and you went out and got a Clase, could you bring back a David Fry to play third base every day? Something.
For both of you, what would be the biggest need? Like if they were only going to fill like one need, what is like the one you'd want them to fill? Like if they only fill one.
I think it's bullpen.
So if I say bullpen, do I get 2 bullpen arms or do I just get 1?
Like if they're going to fill one problem area that you think they have that they need to fix, like is it
the
just
biggest problem is the bullpen?
Yeah.
But man, I hate the idea of sending out Will Warren or Marcus Stroman in a game 4 that it's a 2-1 series in either direction.
No, I mean, it's absolutely a tough look, but I just think that if you can have that bullpen where you only need 4 good innings out of those 2, and you don't need to rely on them to go super deep into a game.
No, I agree with you. I said, I if we could get high-end bullpen arms, if
Right.
we could land Duran and, Jax from the Twins, obviously I'd take that over whatever.
That's my dream transaction.
Yeah, but even if we got what John was talking about earlier, Santana, Bednar, fine.
I mean, we did the Santana train already.
I'm just saying, like, it would be an improvement.
Which is terrible because I'm pretty sure he was a Yankee, was it last year or 2 years ago, Santana?
I think too.
And, like, he just wasn't good.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. They have to do more than one move. At the end of the day, like, they're the Yankees. Like,
Right.
I'm not settling for one move. Brian Cashman has come out and said, we're going to town. You don't go to town for one move. Like,
going
you
to
don't
town
make
means
you don't
you're
make a
trading
quote.
for Carlos Correa or Royce Lewis or Emmanuel Paste.
Me and Corey have talked about this. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Max Reed, Carlos Rodon, Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, even. Like, your best players on this roster are ready to win now and are not pieces to build for the future with. 13 players to build for the now with. And you have to go all in at the end of the day. I'm not saying to make stupid trades. I'm not saying, go trade, Spencer Jones or George Lombard for Dennis Santana. That's not like what I'm suggesting. But, like, you got to move the prospects. You're the Yankees. You will attract free agents.
You will. Unfortunately, there just isn't a big free agency class, coming anytime soon outside of the Kyle Tucker-led one.
Well,
now.
You have Kyle Tucker, and then in 2 years you have Tariq Scoble, who's going to make $400 million. So we're down to 4 teams that can compete for him already. And he's going to be a Yankee, Met, Dodger, or Blue Jay, and he's not going to be a Blue Jay. He's just going to use them to run up the price on one of the other 3 teams.
I think he's got to be a Yankee at that point.
Of course.
It has to be. But we're going to see what the Yankees do. I wonder do you think the Yankees make a trade before our next pod?
No.
You think they wait?
Knowing Brian Cashman and what he likes to do to my anxiety, absolutely.
Like, we're waiting till like 5:59 on Thursday
Well,
night.
I will say this, though. They did make the Jazz trade fairly early last year. So if there's a trade to be made, they do make it. The Jazz trade happened, what was that, like 10 days before the deadline last year? Like, it was so much earlier before that when we did the deadline pod, we weren't talking about it.
Let me see. I think it was like 3 days or something like that.
Before the deadline?
I don't know if it was 10 days. Let me see.
I thought, because I know I know
it was July 27th. It looks
on the day of the deadline, they were playing the Phillies in Philly. I was there, and Jazz was in the lineup, and Jazz hit 2 homers, and it was the longest game of the season.
It's July 27th, it looks like.
So a couple days beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, July 27th. The deadline is always like the 31st, I think.
Well, then I'll say, by the next time we record, probably not. By the next time the next pod comes out, probably.
I think that's a fair one. What about the Phillies? John, do you think they make a move before the next pod?
I think they should. I don't know if they are, though. So sooner the better.
Sooner the better? Because the Phillies did make a move. You want to tell us about your moment of the week?
They did make a move. My moment of the week, they signed David Robertson. Dylan and I talked a little bit about this already. I think it's his 3rd stint with the Phillies already. I think he finished last season with just a 3.00 ERA, I believe. I think with the Rangers, last I looked. But I mean, this is a move that I like a lot. I mean, I don't know why they didn't make it sooner. And Corey just sent the thing in our chat here, but I forgot to mention it. The Phillies did just win tonight I will mention this too, on a walk-off catcher's interference to beat the Red Sox. Like that's absolutely crazy.
What a win.
What a win. I'll take it.
What a win.
Moment of the week, some would say.
Yeah. Some would say moment of the week.
John's backup moment of the week.
Yeah, I didn't even get to
They
see it.
signed D-Rob and walk-off catcher's interference.
Yeah, I was so excited about them signing David Robertson. I forgot to even bring up that the catcher's interference, even though I saw it. Like, I looked at my phone and saw that they won with that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, and then I forgot because I was so hyped up that they signed the relief pitcher.
Yeah. My moment of the week also Philadelphia Philly based Kyle Schwarber in the swing off, 3 swings, 3 home runs. All-Star break was a failure, but those 15 minutes, those were nice.
It saved
Those
the
were
All-Star weekend.
those were old home run derby vibes, and
Felt
it felt pure for a minute.
For me, I'm going with a Eugenio Suarez going 2 home run days back to back. 4 homers in 2 days. Imagine not wanting to trade for him. Couldn't be me. Oh, wait. It is. I don't want him. Not for what he's going to cost. But now let's highlight a series in this upcoming week. The final series is before the deadline. I'm going with Tampa Bay at Cincinnati. Those are 2 teams that are on the fringe of the playoffs. They're very on par with each other, I think, talent-wise. I'd like to see how they fare because I think one of these 2 teams might make some noise if they get into October.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going pretty chalk. Dodgers at Red Sox. Mookie Betts at Fenway. Can he get out of his slump versus former team? The Dodgers, best team in baseball. Even though they don't have the best record, they're reigning World Series champs and they're close enough, and we know the roster versus potentially the hottest team in baseball in the Boston Red Sox, who have surged all the way back in the month of July to now, not even just potentially being a playoff team. They're right back in the division race. Huge, huge series.
And I'm going to do probably the cop out here for the weekly series
Someone had to do it.
highlights. Yeah, I mean, we had to. We had someone to do it. Phillies playing the Yankees. I mean, not only is it a big game for us here on the pod, it's also an important game for both teams there because I mean you have the Yankees trying to I think claw their way back in the first place there, and the Phillies trying to hold on to first place. So this is a
right by the deadline again. Last year moves
Yeah.
were made. Jazz Chisholm, his first full series with the Yankees, I believe, is against the Phillies.
And he played pretty well.
He did because
You know
he
who
was
else
a Marlin.
played for the Yankees in that series? Mark Leiter Jr., fresh off a trade.
That's right.
Pitched in extras, and I think
in the game I was at, the longest game ever. I mean, the longest game of the season.
Yeah.
Definitely wanted to stay there for the entire game and get home at 2-3 in the morning after driving through pissing rain.
Things we do for baseball.
Got my money's worth.
Yes, you absolutely did. Now, do we have any final thoughts leading into trade deadline week? Who's the first player to get moved?
Oh, the first player. So Class A is not my answer to that. I was just going to say keep an eye on Class A to be moved. First player to be moved.
Who opens the floodgates?
Let's say Zach Gallen to the Toronto Blue Jays. The Diamondbacks begin selling.
John?
I'm going to go with Eugenio Suarez.
Ooh,
he's going to be the first one to be moved.
See, I'm going to go with Edward Cabrera as the first one moved. He goes to Boston, and then Boston goes and trades Jarren Duran, and nobody knows if they're buyers or sellers still. But that's going to do it here for us. We'll be back next week. Trade deadline. Last couple of weeks of the season. 2 more months after that, pretty much, and then we'll be playoff time.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. Time to be talking playoffs. Football's coming back to distract a lot of us from the not so happy ends of our seasons. Football's also coming back to make the not so great end of our seasons even worse for some of us. Yes, the stupid pigeons of Philadelphia.
I should have wore that hat. I have that hat too.
I mean, of course you have that hat. We just,
course. I mean, why would I not?
mean, if your team wins the Super Bowl, you know,
Allegedly.
I mean, what kind of Eagles fan would I
Allegedly.
be if I didn't have that?
allegedly.
Allegedly, it's pretty. They won handily.
I mean, I don't think I watched. I think I was like having
were you
a
rooting
mental
for the
breakdown.
Chiefs?
I think I was having a mental breakdown.
Were
I
you
absolutely.
rooting for the Chiefs?
I think I rooted for the Chiefs almost as hard as I've ever rooted for the Giants in that game.
I mean,
To be fair,
there's a lot of people that it tested how much they hate the Eagles that game.
Well, to be fair, I also went to college with Isaiah Pacheco.
That's fair.
So, like, I'm rooting for him on a personal level.
Yeah.
So I think that also plays a role in it. That and how much I truly and utterly hate the Eagles with a passion more than any other team in any sport.
That's wild.
Saquon.
You're just mad. You're just mad
Saquon.
Saquon's on the Eagles. They want to see.
I've hated the Eagles since I was a very small child. But we don't need to worry about the Eagles this year. This is the boys' year. How about them Cowboys? Hey,
He
Eagles
hates
won
the
the
Eagles
division
so
last year,
much.
Dylan.
He's a
You know
Cowboys
it.
fan now.
You know the last time somebody's won the division back-to-back times was 20
And it
years
was the
ago.
Eagles.
It was the
not?
Eagles.
It was the
Yeah.
Eagles.
So it's just not going to happen again. That streak's going to continue.
Ooh.
Or maybe we let Russ cook.
No.
My dream,
I can tell you who it won't be.
Washington.
Yeah, it'll be the Eagles.
I think out of all of them, Washington has probably the best chance besides the Eagles.
Nah, they're not going to even have Terry McLaurin. He's going to hold out.
Wouldn't blame him.
No,
Turn
but
this into a
that's going to do
football
it for us. Before we go down a rabbit hole, Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline signing off. See you next week for the trade deadline.